Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Hello, I'm your brother in faith, Shabir Ally. I bring you another book review, and today the book I'm looking at is this one. It's called Christ in Islam and Christianity by Dr. Neal Robinson. This book is very interesting. So what does it deal with? First of all, I want to tell you something about the author. I met the author many years ago in the United Kingdom. He is a very humble man, despite his vast scholarship. And I had an interesting conversation with him. And it's very interesting for me that he took the time to attend one of my lectures. I was quite humbled by that because he, given his qualifications, deserves for me to listen to him. And there he was listening to my lecture, obviously out of courtesy and respect. He must have found many mistakes in my lecture, which he just overlooked, given his graciousness. So, Dr. Neal Robinson, his book, Christ in Islam and Christianity. This book I find to be very interesting for its contents. Well, for me, as a caller to Islam, I have been in many different venues speaking about Jesus as he's presented in the Quran and viewed by Muslims. And so this book has proven to be a gem for me to constantly refer back to it to get clarity on the Muslim conception regarding Jesus. It's a very detailed work, a very scholarly work. It goes into the background of how Jesus was viewed, not only in mainstream Christianity, but in the various Christian sects, especially sects that may have existed at the time when the Quran was being revealed. So Dr. Robinson takes that as the background knowledge that people had at the time, against which the Quran is giving its own take, perhaps giving revisions or corrections to popular conceptions that were held at the time. At the same time, Dr. Robinson looks at scholarly works that have been done mainly by European scholars and how they have represented the Muslim view concerning Jesus and how sometimes they have misunderstood the Muslim view. Sometimes they come at this from the perception of trying to defend a particular other faith. And they see Islam as a challenge to theirs. They use some polemical tactics in discussing and presenting Islam. Some of them come with good intentions for ecumenical dialogue, but despite their good intentions, they end up distorting the Muslim image in a slightly different way. Neal Robinson sees that the Quranic statements regarding Jesus, on whom be peace, has a lot to do with the challenges that the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace, himself was facing. So that as Jesus was facing opposition from his enemies of his day, the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace, was likewise facing opposition from the enemies of his day. And the Quran is assuring the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace, through the story of Jesus, that he is not alone in the world of prophets. He's not the only one to face such opposition. And as God helped his previous prophets, God is going to help the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace, as well. As God helped Jesus, God will also help the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He also draws a parallel. Dr. Robinson draws a parallel between Aisha, the mother of the believers, and Mary, the mother of Jesus. As Mary was the object of some slanderous remarks by her contemporaries, so too the Prophet's wife Aisha was the object of some slanderous remarks from the people of her day. And by drawing this parallel, the Quran is showing that not only is Mary innocent, but also Aisha, the mother of the believers, is innocent of the blasphemies that people have uttered concerning her. Now, going into the bulk of the book deals with the classical Muslim commentaries on the Quran and how Jesus is represented in those commentaries. So we have many of the most famous commentaries like Tabari and Al-Razi, Al-Baydawi, and Ibn Kathir, And the scholar here goes into those classical Arabic commentaries. These are not translated into English. The translation of Ar-Razi's tafsir has only just begun recently. And so he wrote this at a time when no such thing was available, and he was presenting for English-speaking readers like myself this wealth of information that's there in the classical books of tafsir. And I must confess that even though I've been studying Arabic for a number of years, the tafsir books are not the easiest to read. Easier to read would be like a continuous story, reading prose of great length, because then things are explained in greater detail. But in the books of tafsir, things are mentioned in a very cryptic way. And one really has to know Arabic very well to be able to get a very good grasp of the tafsir. But here, in a nutshell, Dr. Robinson has presented for us the detailed exegesis of the Quran from the classical books to tell us about how Jesus is viewed, not only in the Quran, but was viewed by the classical Muslim interpretation. So detailed analyses of questions about the crucifixion, for example. What does it mean to say that God took Jesus? And what does it mean to say that they killed him not, nor did they crucify him? What about the virginal conception of Jesus? How is that represented in the various tafsirs? Neal Robinson does not stick with only the mainstream Sunni tafsirs, but he goes into Sunni and Shi'i commentaries, and also Sufi commentaries on the Quran to show the variety of ways in which Muslims of a variety of stripes have viewed and thought about Jesus. Is there anything that I don't like about the book? Well, I see that Professor Robinson has given a lot of emphasis to the classical Muslim books of Quranic commentaries, and that's good for us to know and to assimilate and to distill that information. However, I feel that he has given too much credence to the statements in the books of tafsir, and in that case, he has not allowed the Quranic statements to be given their full force. But having said that, I think he has, in a wonderful manner, achieved the objectives that he set out to achieve, which is to present the contents of these classical books of tafsir to English-speaking readers like myself, for whom the Arabic texts might have been quite daunting. So this is a book I find myself returning to again and again to get back down to the details of what Muslims say about various aspects regarding our belief in Jesus. And it is a book that has actually changed my life. And I hope that it will make an impact in yours as well. Perhaps it might even change your life.
When did you start watching Let the Quran Speak? A year ago? 5, 10, 20 years ago? So many of you message us and comment and email us to tell us how much Let the Quran Speak means to you. You tell us you were disillusioned with Islam, but we've helped you return. You tell us you became Muslim after watching our show. We hear from people who knew about Muslims only from the media and have found their misperceptions shattered. We hear from people who disagree with us, but respect and admire us for the values we represent. We get requests from chaplains, teachers, and journalists. Let the Quran Speak has grown tremendously. From a no-frills, volunteer-driven side project, we've built a strong team and developed expertise in video production. We've been on TV for 20 years now. We're thriving on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Every year, thousands of hours go into research, writing, producing, and editing. Over the last 2 years, we've diversified our content, producing short films, documentaries, and video essays. Our operations were limited during COVID, but we've continued to produce new content and new episodes. But there's still so much more we can do. We want to take Let the Quran Speak to the next level. We want to build a specialized studio, which will serve as a creative hub for Muslims in the arts. We want to engage the best and brightest creative talent. We want to go out into the community and tell stories about Muslims from all walks of life. We can't do it without you. Your support has been instrumental in helping us advance. And now we're reaching out to you again. We need your help to continue growing. This Ramadan, we are launching a campaign to raise $170,000. We have around 170,000 subscribers on YouTube. If each person gave as little as $1, we would be well positioned to advance Let the Quran Speak. If you enjoy our content and think our work is important, we invite you to join our journey. Empower us to showcase Muslims' lives. Help us share the message of Islam in a way that people can connect with and understand. Support us today, and together we can take Let the Quran Speak to the next level. Your contribution is tax deductible and zakat eligible. Most importantly, you will get a share in the reward from God. May God bless you and your loved ones with the very best always, and may you draw ever closer to God this Ramadan.